So welcome to a new type of video I was thinking of doing. It's basically me going through my collection slowly, steadily, and giving me something of an opportunity to dig up my troops, check them over, and also show to the wider public what you could achieve from the various different companies and so on that I've bought over the umpteen decades that I have been doing this hobby. So first video will be the Union Army of Potomac, or my approximation of it. This is designed around the Fire and Fury setups, hence the reason why there's a lot of troops, but there's not a lot of troops. It weirdly sounds like that. It sounds a bit weird to put it like that, but yeah, I look at it when it's in its box, I think there's a lot of figures there, and then when I lay them out on the table, I'm thinking there's not a lot of figures, there's a lot of figures. I don't know. I have troubles trying to understand this. So, where do we begin? Well, let's start at the beginning. First off, we have the Army Command. Artillery Reserve, or a chunk of the Artillery Reserve. Moving across, ignoring a few individual units, we begin with 1st Corps, 1st Division, complete with Iron Brigade figures for the 1st Brigade, 2nd Brigade, and 3rd Brigade. Oh, sorry, 3rd Division. Apologies. Yes, sorry, that is 1st Corps, 1st Division, 2nd Division, 3rd Division. I'll get it right eventually. And then we move on to 3rd Corps, 1st Division of 3rd Corps, and the 2nd Division of 3rd Corps. Next up is 6th Corps, which has one of the larger groups of corps guns, 6 of them, whereas everyone else has only got 4. And then we have 1st Division, 2nd Division, and then finally 3rd Division. Now, a quick note, yes, my corps commanders, corps commanders of all 3 corps and my army commander do not actually have the correct colours. Strange story, I have gone looking for them and I have ended up acquiring the divisional colours, or divisionals and brigade flags, but I have not managed to get my hands on the corps and army ones for the Army of Potomac. So the X element is the cavalry. So Buford and his guns, and then the front rank is essentially what was at Gettysburg. So the 3 brigades, so his cavalry, because there's a cavalry division. So in front we have the mounted, and then behind their dismounts with their horse holders. So 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and then that is the army complete. 1 second. Right, next up we come to some of the more specialist units. These are more for guns at Gettysburg and Regimental Fire and Fury than for Fire and Fury at divisional level, as they're too small. So we have my 2, repositioning my hand in the camera, we have my 2 Zouave regiments. And then we have, thought about going to the back, I'll change my mind. And then we have the USSS first. And yes, some of them are actually like blue trousers, blue keppies. And at the rear we have, for when I want to do a bit of 1861, we have Garibaldi's Guard, complete with self-painted flag. And my Irish Brigade. Now, why do I have a 2nd Corps unit when I'm running 1st, 3rd and 6th? Because I had the flag and I had excess troops. That's pretty much it. A few extra things that I own is this hospital set. And of course I have supply column. Because of course you need a supply column when you have this many troops. Quick manoeuvring back around. So with the Army Command, you see I have a few extra officers to work as to act as aids and such like that for the commanders. And when I'm playing things like Guns of Gettysburg, I have messengers and stuff like that. Now, when I do switch from everyone being this is basically switches from being first corps to essentially a division of troops. There will be, I should say, divisions of troops. I have corps commanders, but then I have corps and divisional commanders. I then have my brigade commanders with their appropriate flags for use. Yeah, now let's see if I can think of anything else. Is there anything else of interest? Ah, yes. So, a few examples of some of the figures that we have. So here we have the Iron Brigade. This is my Iron Brigade units. They are Blue Moon figures. Behind we have one of the, I would say, generic formations. These are a mixture of Peter Pig and... Ooh. Good question. Essex, I believe? Yeah, Peter Pig and Essex figures, which make up the bulk of the troops. Beyond, again, we have a mixture here. You might recognise some of the poses of Old Glory figures mixed in with some of the others. My Rush's Lancers, because in Guns at Gettysburg, the writer very kindly gave me a +1 on the charge with these, because they are Lancers after all. These are, I believe, a Peter Pig figure, along with much of the others. I'm trying to think what else have we got. Badan's Sharpshooters. You can actually see the blue trousers on some of them in this one. Again, they are also Old Glory figures, complete. As in, you can buy the... So you could, for example, buy a packet of the Zouaves. You could buy a pack of the Zouave infantry without the command, or you can buy them with the command. So these guys have been Blue Moon. Blue Moon troops. Well, again, guns and such like that are a mixture of Peter Pig and Essex miniatures. Okay, some examples of some of the more mixed in troops. In some cases it was a case of I had Blue Moon trumpeters. There he is. And so he got added into the mass of troops. Originally this army was, much like its Confederate counterpart, was designed around 3 figures to a base. I ended up inheriting more troops and acquiring more troops, so I decided to rebase everything to inch by inch bases with 4 figures a base, because it works better with Guns at Gettysburg. Though Fire and Fury and Regimental Fire and Fury essentially count the stand. You could have 1 figure on it, you could have 20 figures on it, it doesn't matter. The idea is that in those games that the stand is what's more important than the number of troops on it, whereas Guns at Gettysburg is more figure related, so it works in that respect. So everything's in 4s and 2s in the case of the cavalry. And now I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. If anyone knows where I can get corps flags, please tell me, I'd like to know. And we'll just do a quick fly over. Just as a piece of random information, this is probably one of the time periods or rules or whatever you want to describe it as, that if given the choice and I had to get rid of everything, this would be the one that I would argue aggressively for to keep, as it was one of the first ones I actively chose, as my dad was a wargamer. Though he was more for Napoleonics, I looked into it and I was like, I like this Union versus Rebel, Unions versus Confederate thing. I want to do that instead. So I want to do this is my thing. I went with these guys. So, thank you very much, and I shall see you in the next video.